everyone, and welcome to another diamond painting video with me, Ellie. And this is a finish piece called Pink Lady and Her Cat, and this is art by me, and the custom is by Evermoment, which is my sort of go-to company for getting custom paintings. So this is basically just where I go over my experience of doing this piece and what I think about it. So to start off with, we can have a quick look at my logbook. And basically I started it on the 16th of July and I finished it on the 1st of August, and it took me 19 hours and 22 minutes. And there's just a little picture that came with and my notes about what I thought about it, but I will go into that in more detail with you right now. So basically, there were two confusing symbols. Let's just move this over and see if we can zoom in a bit. Let's see if I can get this into the camera shot. So the two most confusing symbols that I found were this R over here, number 9, and there is like an upside down L shape, number 12. And those are also fairly similar in color when you're working on the canvas, and so that was a little bit confusing. Thankfully there weren't too many of them, and most of them were actually this upside down L shape, but if I got any confused, it was probably those two. Then I was very happy with how these flowers came out. The rendering of these flowers I thought was excellent. I just really liked, you got the darks and the lights and the mid-tones, and they just work. To me, that works really well. It reminds me a lot of cross stitch, and I think that's kind of what works best with diamond painting. I just absolutely love the rendering of those flowers. I also really liked the rendering of the swirls in her hair. I just saw her hair as well. The lights, the darks, and the mid-tones, it all just worked really well. And I was very happy with that. I wasn't overly happy with the drill color choice for these light bits. I thought that the contrast was a bit high, like these are a bit pink, those are a bit purple. I just thought probably they could have been a different color that would have worked better. So I wasn't overly happy with that, but that's not to say that I think it looks terrible. I'm happy with it and I think it's a nice piece overall. I just feel like if there was an area for improvement, that would be one of them. I also changed, you can probably see a bit of the canvas sticking through. There's two dark drills in here which I changed out. They were light drills, but it kind of made the cat look a bit squint. If you look at the original artwork, oh, tractors coming past. If you look at the original artwork, I'll put a picture here, there's a lot more definition in the eyes in terms of like light and dark and that sort of thing, which I understand doesn't always work so well with diamond painting, but I just didn't personally like where the two light colors were, so I changed them up for dark, and I think it just makes the cat look less squint. Then this is, I believe, the first kit that I have done that has had round resin drills. And as you can see, there's quite a few of these that have kind of spots in them. Let's see if I can zoom in, that's better. So there's like quite a few bubbles or misshapen ones. So this is basically all of the trash that I pulled out of my drills while I was working. Obviously there are a few that are still left behind in the finished pieces, but some of them have like concave backs, some of them have, they're just the wrong shape, they're not round, and then other ones have little air bubbles in them. So that's what makes me think this is my first kit that I've done that's rounds and resin, because this is a problem that you tend to get with resin. As my friend Sammy had mentioned before, you actually tend to get more trash drills with the resins than without, so that's just something interesting. But I feel like for a painting of this size, this painting is 40 by 50. For that sort of size painting, that's not a terrible amount of trash drills, and as I've said in previous videos, there was more than enough to finish the canvas, so I'm happy with that. This canvas was nice and sticky. I didn't have any issues with drills popping off or rubbing off or anything like that. This is the first time I've actually rolled part of the canvas, so I usually work on 30 by 40s, and this is a 40 by 50, so it's slightly bigger than what I usually work on. So I actually rolled some of the canvas and used some clips to keep it in place, and I went over it with my little rolling tool, and there was no popping sounds as anything went back into place. Like, it was actually very nice, and like I said, no issues with anything coming off like that, so that was very good. The canvas is a nice sort of velvet texture on the back as usual, and it lays nice and flat, as you can see. There's no kind of wrinkled texture or anything, which was very nice. Quite happy with the way her eyes turned out. I was a bit worried, like those are quite detailed, and so because I didn't go bigger in the design, I was slightly worried those might not come out, but I thought those came out nicely. Most of the ABs are here and here. Let's zoom in a bit if you can see that. So you can see the sparkly ABs here and some in her sleeves as well. So I thought that was nice. And yeah, I'm just overall quite happy with this piece. As I had suspected, the rounds definitely take quicker. So my previous piece that I finished was my Hippie Trippy Sheep, and that was 30 by 40, and that took me about 24 hours to finish, like in total. So it was smaller and it took me longer, and those were squares. This is round, and it only took me 19 hours and 22 minutes, and it's larger, it's 40 by 50. So basically, as I suspected, the rounds are much quicker for me, but I will admit that I was very surprised I was actually missing doing squares. So even though it seems to take me longer, it's just more of a meditative process. I don't know. I just was enjoying what I had done, and now I was missing it. So that's interesting. I'm glad that the other two canvases that I have ready to do soon are both squares, so I can get back into that and see how long that takes me. Those are also 40 by 50, so we can also compare the time at which it takes me to complete those. That could be something interesting as well. But yeah, so overall, I'm quite happy with this canvas. I enjoyed the colors. Like I said, I was absolutely adoring the rendering of the flowers and the swirls in the hair. I think those two sections particularly were really, really nice. Like, I'm happy with how the rest turned out. I'm happy with the level of detail. You can even see the swirls in her top, which when I did the piece, I actually wasn't sure were going to show up. So that sort of thing. You can see her earring. So I'm quite happy with that, but I'm like particularly in love with the swirls and with these roses in the back. Oh, sorry, these are actually peonies. The peonies in the background, I'm very, very happy with. So yeah, I'm very happy with this and excited to start the next lot. My other ones, which are, like I said, they're squares. They're also by Evermoment, and the art is also by me. So yeah, looking forward to that, and I hope you enjoyed this quick video. I will just say one thing. I did choose to work with this drill tray by Diamond Paintings Forever. And I will say that I did find that the drills were getting stuck kind of in this section here. And I did have to kind of like shake them quite a bit, and then I would risk some of them falling out and spilling around the place. So that was a little bit frustrating with this. The other thing is also that the drills, there's quite a big space between these lines, and so they don't always line up very nicely. Like, I don't know if you can see that. They don't always line up like perfectly, so if you're doing multi-placing, that can be an issue. I do mostly single placing, so it was okay, but there, you see that's like skew because there's a little bit of space, so they don't always line up perfectly. It wasn't a massive issue, but it is just something to note that if your preference is for multi-placing, then this tray can be a bit frustrating to work with. But yeah, that is the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions or suggestions, please contact me in the comments below, and I'll see you next time. Bye!